This is 2 Corinthians 2:11 in the NLT. Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, call Veloy and Lai, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Bahakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who do well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that's scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, willing that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shawab Amawan back at you with another lesson. And going into the title, all right, false flag, distractions, all right, their next move. All right, and I'm going to read 2 Corinthians 2:11 again in the NLT, and it says, Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. All right. And, you know, we have spiritual counter Satan and we have physical counter Satan. All right. Which, you know, spiritual counter Satan always trying to find a way to, you know, distract us, you know, always trying to, you know, come after us and you know, put the spirit on, you know, physical counter Satan to, you know, find ways to attack the elect. All right. And going into these false flags, all right, I had did a video yesterday, 2 days ago, or yeah, 2 days ago. Going into you know, the false flag that's being put out with this DC shooting, okay, that happened by the White House, which, you know, like I said, that was definitely a false flag just to bring more of their agenda into play. All right. So let me grab an update article on that I grabbed yesterday. All right. This is live updates, Washington, D.C. shooting. You got DT vows immigration crackdown after one National Guard member killed, right? All right. Like I said, we don't know if this is actually something that actually happened. All right. If someone was ever killed in the process or anything like that, these devils are liars, man. They love to lie. All right. And everything is a stage in America. You have to understand that everything is a stage. Everything is an enchantment. Everything's always, you know, some type of witchcraft being done. All right. And, you know, they bring things like this, especially when they have things like the, you know, the EP files, all right, being pushed out. You see all of a sudden these PDF files of DT and, you know, these top banking families of what they do behind closed doors now is not so much of a topic, the main topic that was being brought out. All right. Because for a good week, 2 weeks, you know, this was the main talk. All right. About what this devil was about to be released on. You see, the files that were going to be released on this devil. All right. And now with this whole, you know, DC shooting, now they can take your eyes off of that. You see, and that's what the devil does, man. All right. When he doesn't want to be exposed, he'll try to figure out a way
to throw something else in the mix to distract you and take your mind off of what was being brought out. All right. And especially that the Brotherhood is bringing out, revealing them and exposing them on a heavy note right now. All right. With all his, wickedness that he does behind closed doors. Okay. So this is November 28th. All right. It says 2025 National Guard shooting. All right. Which this was posted at 5:56 this morning. It says, DT says U.S. will permanently pause migration from all third world countries. All right. And it says it says one National Guard member has died and another is fighting for his life. Right. It says, and one is fighting for his life. And if you guys can't hear the feed, it's probably because Esau's is messing around with it. All right. Because the wife just texted me saying that your feed is going crazy right now. So it's probably just Esau fucking around. All right. And that's what he does when, you're about to expose, what's going on. All right. So Salaki, if that's happening, all right, it'll probably, once the video is done and it loads, it might, come out a little better. But Salaki, if you can't, if you can't really hear what's going on right now with the feed. All right, so it says one National Guard member has died and another is fighting for his life after targeted shooting in Washington, D.C. that has added fuel to President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown. Okay, it says, and this is what we were saying, man, we have to watch and play and see what played out of it. All right, we have to see what this devil was going to make or try to make a move on. And this is pretty much what I kind of figured that he was going to do. He was going to intensify a lot of, this immigration. All right. So what's going to happen is a lot of these martial law troops, these ICE agents. All right. Now they're about to turn it up even more on you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. All right. Because they're trying to let you know that this guy, which I'm about to read it right now. It says the suspect who is wounded has been identified as Afghan national Ramanullah Lakanwal, right? However the hell you say his name. It says in the wake of the shooting, DT said he will permanently pause migration from all third world countries, you see? And that represents, basically all you Jakes, all right? Because see, here they're going to try to tie us into these Muslims, man, at the end of the day. Here it is. They're using, this Afghan, right? Just like they used Afghanistan's and Osama bin Laden out there in the time of 2001, all right, when they were dropping buildings, okay? So now they're going to have Muslims, all right, being, the terrorists again, all right. But again, it's also really to get at the elect at the end of the day. They're trying to, basically tie you in with a bunch of Muslim terrorists, okay? That's you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, because putting the pause on migration from all third world countries, all right, is also representing you Jakes, you see? You Jakes that are coming to America as immigrants, to try to find a better life. And so you think you're trying to find a better life. All right. Anybody that's, Jake, all right, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians that's not living here in America, you are considered part of a third world country. You see, you are, considered part of that migration. And all you have right now is, the back and forth of, the left wing, the right wing, going into, this system, all right, these politics, all right, Democratic, Republicans, over there just basically blaming each other about this. Because you got DT that's blaming Biden for letting all these, immigrants come in, all right, and being able to have asylum, all right, for a year, Okay, they were extending their visas, and you know they could come here if they were in trouble in their countries. You know, if it was too much violence going on in their country, you know, you could come to America, and we have a place for you. You see, so now it's just a whole bunch of blaming, the blame game being played. All right, and again, this is all the psyops. All right, just to get your mind off of what's really going on. You see, and they can bring in more laws, more draconian laws, all right, more harsh laws, okay? They can bring in more of their agenda that they're trying to bring out, you see? And that's all good, all right, because it just makes us a step closer for us to get the hell up out of here. We just want this devil to push that button already, all right? So it says, DT said that the administration is looking into whether to deport the suspect's family, and the U.S. agencies have announced reviews of asylum cases and green card recipients, right? So, continuing on, I just want to get a main point that I'm not going to read this whole article because you already know what's the point, all right? But what I want to do is, let me see if I remember where it was at. Yeah, because this is a long one. He said a key point in here where he said he was going to intensify, right? Which that's exactly what it's really about, is them intensifying, all right, the National Guards, all right, bringing in these martial law troops. All right, damn, this is a long ass. Give me 1 second. I didn't realize how long it was. All right. So, there you go. It says the suspect, right? It says the National Guard member has died in the DC shooting, right? Here is what you need to know about the ongoing aftermath. It says Sarah Beckstrom, a 20-year-old National Guard member deployed to Washington, D.C., has died a day after a gunman shot her. Another National Guard wounded member is critically wounded. The suspect, who was wounded, has been identified as Afghan national Rahman Ullah, all right, Lakanwa. In the wake of the shooting, President DT has called for an even more intense immigration crackdown. You see, so that's what's going to happen, man. All right, now it's going to get intensified. All right. When you go into that, it says 2 hours ago, it says U.S. will re-examine all green cards issued to people from 19 countries as DT administration ramps up immigration crackdown. Okay. So again, you know, these things are about to be intensified on you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. All right. And they're going to do it. You know, they're going to throw in the mix, you know, all these Muslims. All right, also to make it look good. All right, so they're gonna put us in the category of being domestic terrorists along with these Muslims, man. Okay, and this is all set up by design. Okay, so I'm not even gonna go too crazy on that article because, like I said, it's a long article. I just wanted that main focal point. All right, but what I will show you is a bunch of different videos that I have. All right, let's grab a couple of them that I got from Instagram. Shalom, sister. Barakatah. All right. So going into this, all right, showing you that, you know, even other people think this is a red flag. All right. But let's grab this one first.
News: Donald Trump is ending migration into the United States from all third world countries, and he has not specified what that means, but presumably it means other countries that he deems as not good. And he wants this to happen to allow the U.S. system to fully recover, terminate all of the millions.
See, and this is what it is. See, what they're really trying to bring in, they're talking about they want the American system to fully recover, is because they're trying to bring in these new agendas, you know, going into the Palantir, all right, going into you got the Genesis mission, you know, all this talk about eugenics, All right, because it's gonna come down to them, you know, pretty much bringing in that ethnic cleansing, man. You see, they want to eliminate a particular type of group, okay, and that type of group is you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, and this is how they try to mix it in with all these different types of scenarios, okay, showing that you're a problem to society. Okay, here it is that the so-called white man wants you to think that he is the perfect man, that, you know, if you're not white, you're not a good person, you see. But if you are dark or brown skinned, all right, well, regardless, we're all brown skinned, all right, that has color, all right, there's no such thing as black, okay. But, you know, according to their ways, right, and their thinking, you know, if you're a black or a brown, all right, you're a problem to society. You see, and again, you know, they're gonna put these Muslims, all right, these Afghanis, all into the mix also, all right, just to make it look even better, all right. But what they're really trying to attack, okay, is you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, man. At the end of the day, that's what it's about, all right. Because here it is now, he wants to make these Muslims a target, but meanwhile, you got all these different type of Muslims that are being put in office in politics. You know what I'm saying? So this is why I did a video a couple weeks back. You know, going into how it's gonna all be a little inside job. All right, it's no coincidence that they got all these Indians, all right, from India being put in office, okay, in politics. You see, and they're considered Muslims also. There's no coincidence that you had all these Muslims coming in and all over New York, all over the United States praying, you know, and ganging up together in large crowds, okay? And then all of a sudden, boom, here we go. They bring a red flag out, all right, a false flag, you know, to make you think otherwise. Oh, see, these people are a problem to society, okay? And again, it's all designed to go at you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians because they want Jacob's trouble. This is what Jacob's trouble is about. All right. As a matter of fact, let me just grab that. Or I talk too much. All right, bring out a scripture. All right, Jeremiah 30. Okay. Jeremiah 30:4. Okay, and it says, and these are the words that the Lord Yahweh spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. And ask ye now and see whether a man does travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Okay. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. Okay. But he shall be saved out of it. And that's the time that's about to enter. All right. We're about to enter Jacob's trouble. Okay. For you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. All right. Because who is Jacob? Jacob is the one that had the 12 sons, right? That we all come from. All right. So, you know, it goes from Abraham onto Isaac onto Jacob. All right. And that's where you had his 12 sons. Okay. So you have 12 tribes of Israel that descended from Jacob. So it's pertaining to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, man. That's who the trouble is going to. All right. Now, let's just grab this real quick. This is Daniel, all right, 12:1. And it says, and at that time, all right, it says the time of the end. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble. You see, going into Jacob's trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time and at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Okay, so the elect is going to be the only ones that are spared out of that time, man. All right, those that are written in the book of life, those that believe in Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, it says, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting content. All right. So, you know, the dust representing the confusion. A lot of people going to wake up out of that confusion, some out, you know, some to everlasting life and some to, you know, everlasting contempt and shame, you see, which those are going to be these 2/3 when they wake up in the kingdom ashamed because they didn't want to hearken on to the word of the Lord. The Lord has told you that what? That 2/3 of our people shall be cut off and die. See, those are the ones that are going to wake up to shame and everlasting contempt, while the 1/3 that's going to be put through the fire is going to wake up to everlasting life. You see, waking up to this truth and taking heed of it. All right. And this is what's coming. You know, the trouble to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Right. So now let's go back to this video. All right.
Major news: Donald Trump is ending migration into the United States from all third world countries. And he has not specified what that means, but presumably it means other countries that he deems as not good. And he wants this to happen to allow the U.S. system to fully recover, terminate all of the millions of Biden illegal admissions, including those signed by Sleepy Joe's AutoPen, and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States or is incapable of loving our country. And he's going to be ending all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens of our country, denaturalize people who have become citizens, and deport any foreign national who is a public change, security risk, or non-compatible with Western civilization. So this is a big, big change because as it stands, we do welcome immigrants, but apparently that will not be the case anymore.
You see? So that's what this devil's up to now. All right. Let's grab this.
Breaking news update. I truly believe what just happened outside the White House yesterday.
And this guy right here,
false flag operation.
This guy that you see being, you know,
what just happened outside. I truly believe
this is the picture, all right, of what he looked like. All right. Now, supposedly this guy was part of the CIA, a trained asset. You see, this is why it's all you know, entertainment, man. All psyops and false flags, man. Because here it is. This guy was part of the CIA, you know, was helping the United States at one point, and look what happened, you know. See, so what this devil does is he just uses people, man. All right, to, you know, probably pay them off. You know, we're gonna use your face in this scenario. We're gonna make you, you're gonna be good, you know. But you know, we're gonna pay you off as long as you keep your mouth shut, stay out of the way, you know. We're going to make it look good by taking your family and deporting them, all this bullshit, man. All right. Again, there's nothing you can believe that comes out of this damn devil's mouth. All right. Because we know exactly what time we're in. This is why the Lord said to be circumspect. All right. Redeeming the time because the days are evil, man. We're in some evil times, dangerous times, as the scriptures tell you in 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter. All right. That in those last days, we will be in perilous times, man, dangerous times, right?
What just happened outside the White House yesterday may have been a false flag operation. But once you hear the shooter's background, you'll see why I'm saying this. The suspect is a 29-year-old Afghan national who spent over 10 years as an elite soldier in Afghanistan's Commando Corps, fighting side by side with U.S. Special Forces in Kandahar. Multiple news outlets confirm he was part of a CIA-backed Kandahar strike force, a super secret unit that carried out night raids, targeted killings, and black ops completely outside the normal Afghan military chain of command. We all know that the CIA and Mossad are one entity. This wasn't some random refugee. This guy was trained, paid, and run by the CIA. In 2021, during the chaotic withdrawal, the U.S. government gave him a special immigrant visa, brought him here.
And this is even reason more why, like, all right, so if he was part of the CIA, right, he was trained and all that, right, why were you in your right mind, knowing how this military works, knowing how Esau works on top of that, why would you go and commit a crime, right, just like that, you know, because apparently this guy just ran up on these two National Guards. All right, one being a woman, that's the one that passed, right? Supposedly, all right, and just shot him straight in the head, All right, which I already told you, man. Forget about all that unarmed. That they were unarmed. They weren't, properly geared up. That's bullshit, man. There's no way that we are in high alert. All right, everywhere around the world right now with all this war going on, and you're not geared up. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work like that. I remember when I used to live. Well, you guys would understand, but I used to live in a particular area back in the day when it was we was on high alert with the war going on in Iraq and all that. People there was a base. All right, there was a nuclear plant that was literally right around the corner, from us. Okay, and hey, we weren't even involved in that area into that part, but because we were on high alert, everybody that was, in that military was walking around always straight guarded with mad equipment on, ready to go just in case, So you're not about to be working around the White House, all right, and you're not on full guard, full duty. There's just no way. I'm sorry. You can't convince me any other way at the end of the day. But, it is what it is. So, him being part of the CIA and knowing and having ties, you're going to go out there and your dumb mind set to just go do that crime thinking that you're going to get away. It just don't make no sense, man. You see? But, hey, they're going to paint a picture for you at the end of the day, right?
Granted him asylum and let him settle in Washington State. And now, out of nowhere, he's allegedly screaming Allahu Akbar and shoots 2 unarmed American National Guardsmen just blocks from the White House.
Exactly.
In my opinion, this man never stopped being a CIA asset. Did our own intelligence community bring their highly trained operative here, keep him on the shelf, and activated him when they needed another terror attack to scare the public or push new laws?
Exactly.
2 American soldiers.
And it makes perfect sense with all these damn files being leaked out on what your damn president's been doing, behind closed doors. This is why now that's getting swept under the rug. Now you're not going to hear about that as much. You see, you might hear about it here and there if you're going on social media. All right. But now they have your mindset on something else. You see, now they got your mindset on this, terrorist attack. Okay. So now they're able to, push more agenda faster. I told you, it goes back to them trying to bring in this Genesis mission. Okay. Them trying to bring the Palantir. All right. These are all new systems that are trying to introduce, to increase, AI, to increase, the system of control, to increase the system of surveillance. We need more surveillance. We need more troops, because here it is. You got the what do you call it? You got the politics, right? You got the White House and all them trying to stop this damn devil from doing, all right, what he's trying to go forth with, which they're all in cahoots together at the end of the day, but you got people that are trying to stop him from doing what he's doing, and they'll come and say that, well, the law says you can't do this. So he'll make something happen to the point where now he can just blame it and be like, you see, this is what happens when you don't allow this law to go through, when you don't give me more troops or you don't give me more security and surveillance. All right. Now they can put the blame on somebody and be able to tell you, look, this is why we got to increase these things. You see, and this is why he's pretty much trying to, blame Biden for a lot of this, for letting all these immigrants in. All right. Which is all designed and orchestrated by your elites, man.
For their lives right now. And I think there's a big possibility that our government, along with Mossad, may have been involved in this. That's my view. And the facts about who this guy really was only make me more convinced that the possibility of a false flag happened. Breaking news update. Yep. I truly believe what just happened outside.
Makes perfect sense to me. All right, I got a little article from DT himself, right? I'm gonna read it real quick. Okay, and it says, I guess he had posted this in his, this is on the White House. When you follow the White House on Instagram, or if you go, you can follow it on TikTok. Okay. And even the ones on TikTok that are coming out, he making mockery of what's to come, which I'm gonna show you in a second. But let's read this letter that he put out. It says, a very happy Thanksgiving Salutation to all of our great American citizens and patriots who have been so nice in allowing our country to be divided, disrupted, carved up, murdered, beaten, mugged, and laughed at. And it's funny because this is what this devil does to begin with. You know, these are his characteristics. Okay. It says, along with certain other foolish countries throughout the world, for being politically correct and just plain stupid when it comes to immigration, right? The official United States foreign population stands at 53 million people census, all right? Most of which are on welfare from failed nations or from prisons, mental institutions, gangs, and drug cartels. Oh, who does that sound like? That sound like you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, man. That sound like you Israelites right there, okay? Because that's what exactly our people are on, welfare, you know? They come from failed nations because their nations are full of poverty, okay? We're constantly locked up in prisons, all right? A lot of them, a lot of us in mental institutions, all right? Because we all sick in the head. Gangs and drug cartels, man. That only represents one people, man. Those are all curses upon our people. It says they and their children are supported through massive payments from patriotic American citizens who, and this is why you cannot take things from the government, because you'll be the first ones to be looked at in times like this. You see, when you run to Egypt for help, okay, as a matter of fact, let me just grab that real quick. All right, when you run to Egypt for help, that's what happens, man. This is why I don't take no shit from, I don't need no damn help from no government, no welfares. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't want your little stimmy checks. You see, because when you use these things, man, you'll be the first one to be put on paper saying, well, look, they use the government and this is why we have to go after them first. Okay. All right. Well, you want to use the government. Well, you're going to be the first one to be used. And, you know, when that RFID comes and they're going to say, all right, we'll use the government. You have these benefits that we're giving you. Well, here, you're going to have to take this RFID to continue in these things, man. You see, the Lord said, he said, I am the shepherd you shall not want, right? The Lord is your shepherd you shall not want. You should not want any of these things, man, because we have Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. But you see, this is going to be your confusion for trusting in Egypt, man. All right. This is Isaiah 30:1. It says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. You see? And when they start running up in your houses even harder than what they've been doing, all right, now you're going to be confused as to why. Okay? Because you've been using the government, be using their benefits. Okay? You come over here crying, talk about I'm broke and poor, all right? And instead of turning to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You see? So now they're going to use you. All right, so let's finish that up. It says they and their children are supported through massive payments from patriotic American citizens who, because of their beautiful hearts, do not want to openly complain or cause trouble in any way, shape, or form. They put up with Salakia. They put up, it's so damn small, these letters. Let me open it up more. They put up with what has, hold on real quick. It says, what has not want to open, hold on, man. Let me just take a screenshot of this shit. I'm going to my pictures and open it up. Because on Instagram, I can only open it so much and then it just like falls right back into its place. Give me 1 second. From a screenshot, I could go in. Screenshot, I could do better with it. All right, here we go. So it says, they and their children are supported through massive payments from patriotic American citizens who, because of their beautiful hearts, do not want to openly complain or cause trouble in any way, shape, or form. They put up with what has happened to our country, but it's eating them alive to do so. A migrant earning $30,000 with a green card will get roughly $50,000 in yearly benefits for their family. And who's the one that put that shit up, man? These devils. You see, this is what they do. They do these things, and here it is, and it's to piss off the people. It's to piss off the American people. This is how they stir up civil war, man. All right. Here it was that they were allowing all these immigrants to come in. You know, come to America, and you'll get $10,000. We'll give you $30,000 in benefits. All right. But here it is that the people that are already citizens here, all right, struggling, they have they can't even get a benefit that good. You see? And this is what's been going on because all these immigrants coming in and getting all these benefits, and they're not even American citizens, has the people that are citizens, all right, has them in a stirred up mindset, has them pissed off because they were receiving all these things. You see, and that's all orchestrated and designed by your governments, man. All right. So it says they will get roughly $50,000 in yearly benefits for their family. The real migrant population is much higher. Yeah, the real migrant population is much higher. This refuge burden is the leading cause of social dysfunction in America. All right. And this is why you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the problem, because you're the ones that's coming in as these immigrants, right? Especially the Northern Kingdom. All right. And you're receiving all these benefits. Right. It says the real migrant population is much higher. This refugee burden is the leading cause of social dysfunction in America, something that did not exist after World War II. Failed schools, high crime, urban decay, okay, overcrowded hospitals, housing shortages, and large deficits, etc. Okay, and this is all tying back to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? That are the problem. As an example, hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia are completely taking over the once great state of Minnesota. Somalian gangs are roving the streets, looking for prey, as our wonderful people stay locked up in their apartments and houses, hoping against hope that they will be left alone. The seriously retarded governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, does nothing, either through fear, incompetence, or both. While the worst congressmen and women in our country, how you say her name, Ilhan Omar, always wrapped in her swaddling hijab, right? It says, and who probably came into the USA illegally, in that you are not allowed to marry your brother, does nothing but hatefully complain about our country, its constitution, and how badly she is treated when her place of origin is a dedicant, all right, dedicant backward, Salakia, and crime-ridden nation, which is essentially not even a country for the lack of government, military, police, and schools, and etc. You see? So here it is, you know, this damn president being funny as hell, complaining when here it is, your damn wife is a whole immigrant. She shouldn't be here, but it's okay, right? But you're gonna try to put everybody else as the problem, all right? It says, even as we have progressed technologically, immigration policy has eroded those gains living conditions for many. All right, gains in living conditions for many. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the U.S. system to fully recover, okay? Terminate all of the millions of Biden illegal admissions, including those signed by Sleepy Joe Biden's auto pen, and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States or is incapable of loving our country. End all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens of our country. Denaturalize migrants. All right. How they going to denaturalize, man? Let me see what that word denaturalize means. All right. It's going to be by force. Okay. Denaturalize.
Denaturalization revokes a naturalized citizenship through a court order. This can happen if someone obtains citizenship through fraud, misrepresentation, or illegal means. The government must file a complaint in federal court, and the person has the right to respond. For legal advice, consult a professional.
And how they gonna do that? They're gonna be putting you to jails, you know, if you don't comply with their ways. You see? This is how slick they are with their talk, man. All right. It says denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility and deport any foreign national who is a public charge, security risk, and non-compatible with Western civilization. See, this is the kicker. This is why they're trying to get to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and mostly of the elect, because we're not in compliance with their Western ways, man. You see? It says, or non-compatible with Western civilization, man. You see? And here it is that we're preaching about. We're contrary to what they're trying to bring out. We're contrary, all right, by following the laws of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, not complying with the Western civilization, not complying in the Western mindset, you know? So it's really to get at you so-called Negroes and Latinos, man, and Native Americans that are in this truth. Okay, because we already know 2/3 is going to be taken out of the way. All right. So it says, so like I lost my place. All right, non-compatible. It says, hold on, foreign national who is a public charge, security risk, and non-compatible with Western civilization. These goals will be pursued with the aim of achieving a major reduction in illegal and disruptive populations. Okay, so it's not only just about illegals, but it's also disruptive populations, man. Okay, it says include, and who's the population here, man? All right. Who's the ones that are the minority? All right, you Jakes, man, you Israelites. We're innumerable. Okay, we're all over the world, man. You see, there's not a bigger amount of people, mass population than our people that are Israelites. You see, so you are the ones that are the disrupted populations, man, including those admitted through an unauthorized or illegal auto pen approval process. Only reverse migration can fully cure this situation, and this goes hand in hand with why they want to be able to start taking people to you know, prisons and out of the country. You know, they get, because here it is, they ain't got enough to be able to lock us up, man. We will overpopulate these prisons. Okay, but this is why they have created FEMA camps, you know. But now they want to be able to transport you to these FEMA camps that are overseas, you know, and in other countries. You see that America is basically, you know, in cahoots with. Okay, this is the trouble that's coming to you, Jakes, man. It says, other than that, happy Thanksgiving to all, except those that hate, steal, murder, and destroy everything that America stands for. All right. And hey, who that sound like? That sound like Esau himself. He's the one that hates the most. All right. Because he hates you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Right. He hated his own brother. OK, going back to, you know, being Esau. All right. That's why he said in Genesis the 27th verse. Right. That the days that were at hand that his father was going to pass away. Right. And then when he did, he was going to slay his brother Jacob. See, he has that perpetual hate to this day. You see, this is why he's always after, you know, Jake, trying to murder him, take him out of the way, because of that perpetual hatred that he has. All right. He's the one that has stolen more than anybody. Okay. This whole entire, you know, country is built on robbery, lies. Okay. Off the backs of Israelites. All right. He has caused nothing but genocide, murder, rape, pillage. Okay. This is what this devil's about. And here it is. Now he's trying to say that we're the problem, that we're the ones that have this characteristics, which we are, you know, because our deeds are overpassed the wicked, man. You know, you had our people done followed after the ways of the heathen. So now they're committing the same exact type of crimes that Esau would commit. All right. But it all starts with Esau himself. Right. It says those that hate, steal, murder. All right. He's the biggest murderer of them all. All right. There was a matter of fact, let me see if I still have that. Took a screenshot. Actually, you know what? It's not even a screenshot. I got it in my Instagram. It was showing basically what all these Edomites, man, how much murder they have committed over the years, over the generations. All right. Let me see if I still got it in here. I should have it though. Nah, I don't got it in there. Let me see if it's in my screenshots. But it was basically going into nah, I don't got it in my screenshots neither. Damn, I knew I should have took that picture. But basically it had British and America at the top of the chart. And if I remember correctly, it was Britain had over 82 plus million deaths, you know, on their record, or it might have been billion. Honestly, no, it was million actually. Salaki, it was million. All right, and then you had United States right underneath, which came in like at like I think it was like 61, 62 plus. All right, so showing you that the so-called white man is the leader of murdering, man. Okay, he was a murderer from the beginning, as the scriptures tell you, John 8:44, man. You see, because he abode not in the truth. All right, and it says, and destroys everything that America stands for. Who that sound like, man? Esau is the one that destroys all things. Everything he touches, he destroys. Everything he touches, he pollutes. Okay, scriptures say that he was that red horse, right? That came to take peace from the earth. All right. You have Revelations, all right, 11 that tells you that that we have to take out of the way those that destroyed the earth, man. You see? And now he's trying to put the blame on us. Okay? You won't be here for long. That was his last words. So he said, happy Thanksgiving to all except those that hate, steal, murder, and destroy everything that America stands for. You won't be here for long. All right? So they have an agenda, man. All right. And it's to ethnic cleanse you niggas. All right. This is let me grab this last video. All right. It says it's not even a video. All right. This is to show you. All right. Here it goes. February 3rd on 2026, set to begin. Right. It says President Trump ends temporary protected status for 353,000. Okay. Haitians, okay? Mass deportation set to begin February 3rd, 2026. You see, this 2026 is going to be wild, okay? With all these laws that are being put up under your noses, man, while you are distracted by all the nonsense and bullshit, okay? By all the damn bread and circuses, all right? 2026 is going to be wild, all right? And it's about to be intensified. Right after these holidays, exactly after these holidays, man. Just like I did the video 2 nights ago on Thanksgiving, right? Saying watch when you wake up to read the newspaper. All right, what's going on? All these types of deaths. I done seen a whole bunch of them already. A whole bunch of deaths being put out right after Thanksgiving, right on Thanksgiving, you know, because the Lord is turning up. Every time we go through these holidays, the Lord turns up even more, you know. He'll put the spirit on these devils more to you know, come harder, okay? It says temporary protected status designated country. All right, Haiti. All right, alert. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem has terminated temporary protected status for Haiti, and TPS benefits will no longer be in effect starting at 11:59 p.m. on February 3rd, 2026. All right, and that's only months away. Okay, now let me show you another video. This is from TikTok, and this is why they want to get rid of social media, man, because TikTok be going hard. All right, between Instagram and TikTok, this is where you get the raw news, right? But hold on, let me get this. So this was posted by the White House, right? Showing you what these devils is about to do, man. All right, and they laughing at you. Might have to cut the song out. Give me a second. It's coming up. All right, so yeah, check this out. Here we go. We'll come back up. I don't even got to put nothing, no music. See, this is posted by the White House, man. They're mocking you right in front of your faces, yo. It says, the deportation feeling. You see? And all you see is a bunch of ICE agents, military, police states, right? Running up on immigrants and locking them up. Okay? Let me see. I think there was a longer one I had. Yeah, no, that was the one that I had. I'm going to play it one more time. Like literally, man, this is posted by the White House. All right, they're not playing with y'all no more, man. This is 13 hours ago.
This kind of hell month later in the term. So it's heading into the holidays. Donald Trump in the midst of what is clearly measurably the worst month of his second term. And usually presidents face this kind of hell month later in the term. So it's bad news coming earlier than usual, which is also bad news as there are cries of a lame duck presidency. Consider within the last day, Trump's revenge cases completely blowing up. And remember, this is not like they made it to trial and James Comey found sympathetic jurors. This is not like they made it to jury selection and something changed. This, by any legal timeline, was a fast failure. And if you're counting, I mentioned this in our coverage, there have now been 3 losses for Trump, 3 cases against foes, his perceived foes, that have completely fallen apart, and 0 wins. New polls show anger over prices. Americans more upset than the end of Biden's term. Trump's job approval crashing to record lows. As you see, it stacks up on the screen. But we're not done.
See, and this is why, man, this is why
that humiliating defeat.
He's going through so much backlash and humiliation right now. This is why everything is being exposed, man. This is why his kingdom cannot stand. All right. Literally. All right. This is, let's grab it from, I'll grab it from Luke. This is Luke 11 and 18. All right. And it says, if Satan also be divided against himself, how shall his kingdom stand? Yeah, because you have Satan casting out Satan. You have their own tongue that's falling upon them, man. You see? So the kingdom cannot stand, man, because everything here is divided. All right. And this is all orchestrated, all right, by the elites, because they're just puppets at the end of the day, man. The elites are the ones that's pulling the strings behind closed doors, all right? And ultimately, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is the one that's pulling the strings on these elites, you see? And this is why this devil, all right, is about to come down on you with great wrath, okay, because he has but a short time, right? This is Revelation 12 and 12. And it says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he has but a short time. You see, this devil, his days are numbered, man. Literally months. That's all he has left, man. Months. You can't look at it. This devil has years, okay? He has decades left, all right? The Lord said he has months, all right? This is Slovakia. This is Job 14 and 5. Seeing his days are determined, the numbers of his months are with thee. You see, the Lord said the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. You see? So, you know, this is why he going all out. He can't do no more with than what the Lord allows him for the rest of the time being. You see, he done created all this technology. He done, you know, created all these miracles and wonders he's about to do, right? But that's it. That's it. Now he has no choice but to use it. Now the Lord has no choice but to put him to use, okay? And then to be taken out of the way. He was created to destroy these things. He was created to create these things on the left-hand side to be able to destroy himself, man. You see, and that time is now. You see, because he knows the scriptures. He knows that he has but a short time. He knows, you know, as he's looking through these scriptures and he sees everything happening that he has no control of, all right? Because everything is controlled by the Lord, man. He sees like, damn, that's it. My time is up, you know. The pride of his heart, you know, says that he's going to continue forever. The pride of his mindset thinks that he's going to be able to, you know, conquer over Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai and take him out the way. But his footsteps say otherwise, man, because he realizes like, damn, why the hell am I going so hard right now? Because Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai put that spirit on him to do it, man, because he knows he's about to be taken out of the way. You know, he knows his kingdom is falling apart. And there is no more hope for his future. You see? So again, seeing his days are determined and the number of his months are with thee, thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Okay. And the Lord eventually is going to put a stop, all right, to everything that he has, man, his enterprise. All right. This is Job 5 and 12. Matter of fact, let's take it from 11. 11, it says to set up, let me, hold on. Yeah, now let's go to 12. He disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. All right. This is in the NLT. He frustrates the plans of the schemers so that the work of their hands will not succeed. Okay. He taketh the wise in his own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong. All right. So, you know, the Lord is going to end up, you know, putting a pause. Here it is. He wants to put a pause to migration, right? Where he's going to put a pause to his system, put a pause to his enterprise, man. This devil's only going to go so far with what he's doing, man. He's going to only allow them to take out 2/3, you know, destroy what he has to destroy on this side, right? But eventually the Lord's going to intervene and lift that standard up against them, you know. And this devil's going to be, you know, he's going to be put in, matter of fact, let me grab that. This is going to return upon his own pate, okay? This is Psalm 7:16. His mischief shall return upon his own head, and his violent dealing shall come down upon his own pate. You see, that's why the kingdom is being translated from one people to another, because of unrighteous dealings. You see, because of injuries and riches gotten by deceit. You see, this is why the Lord has to take them out, man, because everything he has done, all right, is just contrary to doctrine, is contrary to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. And, you know, the Lord already told you, this is the devil that the Bible speaks of. So the devil just being the devil, man, being the adversary, man, all right, being, against you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians because of that perpetual hatred that he's always had, all right, toward his brothers, all right, toward his brother. Let's grab that real quick. This is Ezekiel 35. All right, and 1, it says, moreover, the word of the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. This is why he hates us the most. This is why it's all leading back to trying to get to the men of the Lord. All right, because we're prophesying against this devil. You see, we are the ones that's standing up against the evildoers, against the workers of iniquity. You see, these evil, what do you call them? Whistleblowers that are, you know, have a little bit of knowledge of what's going on. They ain't been waking you up to this shit. All right, they just started recently waking you up to these things because they watching the men of the Lord bring out the word, starting with the elders and apostles. I've been telling you this for 40 plus years, man, telling you these things will come. You see, before there was internet, they were already telling you what was to come. All right. The Lord himself in the volume of the book already told you that he had declared the beginning. He declared the end from the beginning. You see, so it was always written. Okay. So all these whistleblowers, man, they're nobodies, man. All right. They're just learning from the men of the Lord. And now they want to sound like they're smart and they're woke. You're woke because of the true men of the Lord that have brought out this truth. Okay. And, you know, we set our face against Mount Seir every single day. This is why we're risking our lives on them highways and hedges and on these epistles that we do online. This is why we're going to be persecuted, demonized as domestic terrorists. Okay. You're going to realize that there was a true prophet among you, that we were the only ones that mattered. Okay. And ultimately, the only one that mattered was Yahweh Shai. You see? So it says, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it, and say unto it, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee. See, the Lord hates you, man. And who came from Mount Seir? The Edomites. Edom. That's the birthplace of Edom, is Mount Seir. It says, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity. You see, he about to do the same thing right now. We're already down and out. We're already in a time of calamity, man. Strange calamities popping off upon us because Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is punishing our people on a daily basis, man. But see, while we're down and out, they want to continually keep kicking us, all right, and take advantage of us. That's the problem. That's why he's going to be cut off, because that violence against thy brother Jacob, you see, it says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Okay. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from him that passeth out, that returneth. You see? So, you know, literally, man, this devil has pursued us with blood for quite some time now, man. All right. Let's grab Obadiah right quick. All right. Obadiah 1 and 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captives his force, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was one of them. But thou shouldst have not looked on the day of thy brother, in the day that he became a stranger, neither should thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldst have not looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither should thou have stood in their crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. You see, you shouldn't have done none of these things, man. Okay, we the apple of his eye, of the Lord's eye, man. You see, so you were supposed to let it be and just you were supposed to allow Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah to do his ways, man, and just punish our people. But you took advantage of us when we were down and out, man. So now you have to be cut off, okay? Because of your bloodshed, all right? Your wickedness, all right? And again, this is all being set up for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, man. Those that can receive what's going on, all right? It's made for the time of Jacob's trouble, okay? And ultimately, they're trying to get to the elect, but the Lord is gonna, he gonna save us, man. Because we trust in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. The name of the Lord is a strong tower, and the righteous man runneth into it and is safe. So we're always gonna be safe, okay? And as a matter of fact, I'll end it with this, because this is the devil's mentality. This is Wisdom of Solomon 2. All right. Wisdom of Solomon 2, and I'll go straight to the point. All right. 10. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age. Let our strength be the law of justice. You see, this is how they're about to come at you with their laws, with their draconian laws that they're setting up. Okay. Because that's how they get their justice. You see? It says, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not of our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objected to our infamy the transgressions of our education. You see, going back to what I was just reading in that whole letter that he had put, you see, okay, because we're not into their Western civilization. We're not complying with their Western ways. All right. We're contrary onto their doings. It says he professes to have the knowledge of Yahweh, and he calleth himself the child of the Lord. Right. He was made to reprove our thoughts. And that's what we do on a daily basis. We reprove this devil's thoughts with the sword, man, with this Bible. He is grievous unto us, even to behold. For his life is not like other men's. His ways are of another fashion. Yeah, we move in the way of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. We are esteemed of him as counterfeits. He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness. He pronounceth the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh his boast that Yahweh is his father. And that's right. Our end is going to be blessed through salvation. Okay. And you being taken out of the way and being put into captivity. Okay. Because he that leadeth into captivity shall be put into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. This is the faith and the patience of the saints. Right? It says, we are esteemed as of him as counterfeits. He abstaineth for our ways. All right, Salakia. 17. Let us see if his words be true, and let us prove what shall happen in the end of him. This is what he's going to do. He's going to put you to the test. For if the just man be the son of Yahweh, he will help him and deliver him from the hands of his enemies. Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture. See, that's what he's going to try to do to our people, man. That we may know his meekness and prove his patience. Let us condemn him with a shameful death, for by his own saying he shall be respected. Such things they did imagine. See, this is what the Lord's saying, though. Such things they did imagine and were deceived, for their own wickedness has blinded them. As for the mysteries of Yahweh, they knew them not, neither hoped they for the wages of righteousness, nor discerned a reward for blameless souls. For Yahweh created man to be immortal, us Israelites, and made him to be an image of his own eternity. Nevertheless, through the envy of the devil came death into the world. They that do hold it of his side do find it. You see? So, hey, man, he going to try to make his move, but Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is going to make his on the right-hand side. You see? So, hey, Lord willing that you were edified. So with that being said, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Call Haloim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bachakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad. The Akim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom. Keep fighting the good fight of faith and enduring as good soldiers of Yahweh Shai all the way to the end. Shalom.